Hi, this is Steph with Belladonna Dyes, and today we're going to make a peach spiral. Decide where you want the center of your spiral to be and give it a little pinch. And as always, I'm using the microwave splatter guard that I got off of Amazon, and a link for it is down below in the description box, along with everything else that I use for tie-dye, so go ahead and check that out. I click the hemostat down on the first click. It does not need to be over tightened. You don't want to tear a hole in the center of your shirt. Get your spiral started with the hemostat, but then you use your opposite hand to create the spiral. When you've gone as far as you can with the splatter guard, unclick your hemostat and use your opposite hand to hold down the center of the spiral and gently wiggle the hemostat out. If you don't hold down the center of the spiral, you do run the risk of pulling it out with the hemostat, and then you're going to have to create your spiral all over again. And then I like to use rubber bands to secure my spiral. Also, I like to create a nice tight spiral, so I will pull on the loose tails and tuck them into the nearest rubber band until it's nice and tight. Many of you already know about this, but I'm creating a playlist called Dharma's Dye Swatches, and I'm doing the single color ice dyes to display each color. So I do highly recommend, especially if you're new to tie-dyeing, you check out that playlist. I'm only into the pinks right now, but it's going to be a very helpful tool when it comes to ordering dye. Now it's time for the fun part. We get to add the dye, and this spiral is on a very slight incline. You need to build yourself some type of an ice barrier, and those red things are silicone cake molds that I got from Amazon. It has been my experience when working with peach that when you ice dye with it, it's one of those colors that has a tendency to sort of disappear, so I'm putting on a very generous layer and I'm using the back of the spoon to smooth it out. Next, give your project a quick little sprinkle of soda ash for good measure, and I'm only adding the soda ash where I added the dye. And then I'm packing on my ice, and I have found that if I add the ice to the white area first, it doesn't knock the dye off into the white area. So I came back and I checked it after the first layer of ice melted, and as I suspected, there wasn't a lot of saturation. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and repeat the process on the back side that I did on the top side. From here, I just set the shirt aside and I let it do its thing, and I let it batch for 48 hours after the ice melts. It's been 48 hours since the ice is melted, and now it's time for the rinse out. You want to start by using cold water to rinse away any soda ash that might still be reacting within the fibers, and then increase your water up to hot. And especially when you're trying to protect a white area, you want to make sure to rinse that really well. You don't want the dye to redeposit onto the white during the washing machine cycle. So from here, I take it to the washing machine and I do however many hot water cycles using Kirillon that it takes. It's usually about 2 cycles. I take a little cup and I scoop up the hot water in, let's say, the second cycle, and I check it. And if that water is clear, I know that I'm ready for my final hot water cycle using Millsoft. And Millsoft brings softness back into the fabric after the dyeing process. And then I put it in the dryer and I'll iron it. And the reason why I iron it is it just makes the photographs look better. And that's just one thing. If you guys are doing projects and you don't like it, iron it and then sleep on it and look at it again, and it really does have a tendency to change your mind. Well, here it is, guys. Here's our peach single color ice dye on that very slight incline after it's been washed and dried, and it's a pretty shirt and it's a pretty color. I really do like all these single color ice dyes that I'm doing. I am learning so much about each color, and I highly recommend that you do them too, because I have a much broader appreciation for white in my tie-dye than I used to. So there isn't a whole heck of a lot to say about this color. Where there's a high concentration, it has a lot of orangish, reddish colors, but it does break down into sort of a nice, pretty peach. It looks a lot different with the liquid. So right here is the liquid swatch against the ice dye, so you can see the difference between the two. So what do you guys think of the color peach? Please leave me some comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a thumbs up, and then click the bell and set it to all. That way you get notified of future uploads. And remember, have fun tie-dyeing.